Welcome to the Crazy Might Work podcast, where we celebrate authors, entrepreneurs, innovators, inventors, and scientists who live at the very frontiers of human consciousness and possibility. We discuss their moments of breakthrough and analyze the strategies they use to enhance their own thinking and challenge conventional wisdom. Our guest today is a world-leading expert in leadership and building high-performance teams. He is here to tell us how we can be better leaders by mastering the ability to shift social context. He is the author of How NASA Builds Teams and former director of NASA's astrophysics division. He launched and then repaired the Hubble telescope, which has given humanity an eye on the universe that previous generations would never have dreamed possible. NASA awarded him a very unusual second Outstanding Leadership Medal, and he was awarded the Distinguished Service Medal, which is only awarded when the contribution is so extraordinary that other forms of recognition would be inadequate. He received presidential rank awards from Ronald Reagan and from Bill Clinton for sustained superior accomplishment. Please join me in welcoming the person that has changed the course of NASA's culture more than any other, Charlie Pellerin.
Thank you.
So, Charlie, just in thinking about, the shift that this would entail for many leaders, that they would maybe move from very blue or very orange into something that's a little bit more appreciative of the humans in their teams, and this is clearly a change that you've made. And one of the things that you talk about is authentic appreciation, and so. How do you go about finding that authenticity if it's not your habitual way of being or behaving?
It's interesting. So it's back to our friend mindset again. Mindset's everything. So people, I see people, I've seen people, I did some in my consulting work, I would shadow people sometimes. I would walk around with them for a couple of days, see what they're doing. And I watched the guy that would do good job. And later in a workshop, in front of everybody, I said, what do you think when he does that? They said, we hate it. It's so inauthentic. So it reminds me of this joke about the salesman's motto, authenticity works best when you can fake it. Well, it doesn't. Okay. So how do you do this? The answer is that if you take yourself into a mindset of gratitude, you will feel the appreciation. It'll be the truth of your experience. Back to this idea of the unarguable truth. The unarguable truth is the truth of your experience. And make a really simple case of it, saying this room is hot versus is arguable. I feel hot in this room is not. So when you speak the truth of your experience, it is unarguable, it's authentic. So the way you learn to do habitual appreciation is to first live in the mindset of gratitude. And the way you do that is simply manage your attention to what you have rather than what you don't. None of this is that hard. So this is the way I live life, and it's a happy way to live. I learned this much too late. They should teach this stuff in grammar school instead of calculus in college, which is a waste of time. Nobody ever uses it after they graduate. So anyway, a little editorial comment.
You also mention in your book a kind of mnemonic, which is HAPS, around expressing authentic appreciation. Can you tell us a bit about that, Charlie?
So what is the standard we're going to measure the behavior against? And so appreciation to me, appreciation is the foundation of everything. It is the big deal. So you got to think this through carefully. So HAPS stands for habitually. You got to make it a habit. I don't know if you ever think much about how much of our life runs on autopilot with habits. I mean, it's huge, right? This got to be authentic. That's the A. Then it should be prompt. It doesn't work if you do it later. Really smart companies like Tesla's run really well in lots of ways. Anyone at any level can give an appreciation award to somebody else on the spot. You don't need to wait till the annual review. HAP, proportionally. This should be proportional to what's been achieved. So you don't give a big appreciation for a small task. And then finally, it's got to be specific. It's got to be specific to what's actually being done. Otherwise, it has no power. So, Paul, I want to appreciate you for the really organized way you set this up, the hard work you did into the questions you put for me, the whole format, everything about this has been done so professionally. And your questions, I don't think anyone has ever made questions that showed they read my book as thoroughly as you did. You could write a thesis on my book now. And usually people say, I read your book, and now after about 2 minutes, I know they really didn't. You did the work. It's a pleasure to do this with you, and I appreciate knowing you.
Thanks, Charlie, and likewise. Just to maybe close off on the.
To you?
Sorry, say that again, Charlie.
Did that feel authentic to you?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Perhaps just to close on that conversation around appreciation. There's one particular story that I recall in your book around an FBI agent who was commenting on 9/11. What was that anecdote, Charlie?
Yeah, it's about the urgency. So I had a good friend who was an FBI agent. FBI went up to the World Trade Center, and I said, "What'd you learn?" And he said, "Many ears were spoken. Many things were said in the ears of the dead that they yearned to have heard while they were alive. Many things were said into the ears of the dead that they yearned to have heard while they were alive." So in my workshops, I give people an overnight action item to go home that night and express authentic appreciation for somebody that they care about. And the next day, the stories are always, I get reports from the audience. Some of them most of them go really, really well. Some of them, one of them, I also teach them to do it with email. And so one guy said, "No, that didn't work at all." I said, "What happened?" So, well, went home, this beautiful thing to my wife, an email, walked in the door. She said, "Honey, I've got bad news." He said, "What happened?" I said, "Somebody hacked into my email account." But other things, like I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about who are the people in my life that I don't see very often, don't express this appreciation. I sent it to several of my colleagues back at NASA that I've been 20 years later, and appreciate something about them. I got emails back. My next door neighbors, I appreciated the guy over there for the things he does for us. Whenever we travel, he's on it. He's on our house. He goes through, keeps an eye on everything. I told him what a great person he was, and he said that he'd never been appreciated like that in his entire life by anybody. My son emailed me back and said, "I realize I've never appreciated you for being a model of character for me throughout my life." So appreciation is interesting, and I do a lot of things with the builder and the crew. So at the construction site, we had a room there called a tornado room, which is a reinforced concrete room, and it's got a steel door in it because it was built in with the concrete. So I put in there a little canteen. They've got a refrigerator. I stock it with beer and water. They've got a microwave oven they can cook their lunch in. It's a place they can sit down. And the builder said, "No one's ever done this before." And I said, "It's just appreciation. It's hard work. These trade workers, if I go up there and walk around with them for 4 hours, I'm exhausted without even doing the work. So why not make it easy for them to have a good lunch and easy for them?" And so I think that I do this also. I do it because I enjoy it first, but I also know it's going to pay back because it always does. It has nothing to do with any immediacy. It has nothing to do with any agenda. But try this, experiment with it. You're going to find if you appreciate, the return's going to come somehow or another. The universe has. This is like F equals ma. It kind of comes around. It'll return somehow. So I send the contractor a $1,000 check out of the blue to his personal account, and said, "Go take your kids and go to some sport this weekend." This kind of thing, and I do it because I feel like I want to do it, and so it's a life-changing thing. I I got this many years ago, I think initially from Covey's book. It's about living in abundance rather than scarcity. So this administrator that I worked for at NASA had, I'm going to say, he's a very smart guy, but he had a personality like Donald Trump's. He was aggressive. He was offensive to people. And so every morning I realized I had to go to work. I'm working side by side with him, mostly saving the NASA workforce from him and saving him from himself. I only did that for about 5 months and said, I can't do this anymore. This is too exhausting. That's when I went to see you. Anyway, so I sat down. I said, I've got to write my statement of purpose every day. And on the subway, I've got to study this to get myself centered to go and put up with a day of this crap. So the first version I wrote, I put, I want to be wealthy. And then I realized that when the time in my life when I had the most stuff, I felt the poorest. Because if you're trying to get more all the time, this mindset of scarcity, there's never enough. And money is really interesting. Money doesn't satiate. In fact, it seems to have the opposite effect. The more money people have, the more they want. It doesn't fill you up. So I changed it to abundance. And in those days, I had a budget. I'd give away $50 a month for something. So I would take a friend and just invite him for breakfast, or buy somebody some little thing. It actually turns out that gestures are more important than words. So doing something for somebody, and look for chances every day to do a kindness for somebody, this kind of thing. And then it just became a life habit, and I just live it. And it's good. So
Charlie, it's I guess in some ways counterintuitive, but just that those, the little things do make such a great difference. And one of the other things that stood out for me in your narrative is around punctuality, which seems like such a trivial hygiene thing, but it's not, is it?
So I think that there's two things that are more precious than anything else: your character, and then whatever you are able to learn, your competence. And what's interesting about those is no one can take those away from you. You only lose them if you give them away. And so for me, one of the main elements of character is integrity. And integrity simply means matching your words to your deeds. So I got this a long time ago, and everyone that worked in my company, when it was one time about 20, 25 people, we all had to behave according to this way. I want you to think how wonderful it is to work with people that are going to do what they said, when they said it, and the way they said it. And it's going to happen unless they renegotiate before they break the agreement. So it's about rigorously keeping agreements of all sorts to protect your integrity. And that means showing up on time. And the main strategy for this is if you're going to break an agreement, which we all do, you renegotiate it ahead of time. So it's never broken. So if I'm going to, I use a story like this, like I'm coming to a workshop and it's supposed to start at 8 in the morning. And I left the hotel at 7, got stuck in traffic, didn't get there till 8:30. Do I have a broken agreement? I do. And there's a process to move back into integrity. And the process is you tell the truth. I broke my agreement with you. Tell what happened. I got caught in traffic. How you're going to prevent in the future. I'm going to make sure I check Google Maps before I leave home or get alternate routes. And then am I okay with you? And so now you're back. So it's a state of being. You want to be in the state of integrity. So when I teach this in workshops, on day 2, I get these phone calls from people. I'm stuck in traffic. Can I renegotiate? Coming in 15 minutes later, you surely can, because you preserved your integrity. I think this is so big. If I worked with a proposal team and they wanted to lie about the cost, I would leave. I just don't want to be part of it. So it's about valuing this as, I think that with time are your most precious possessions. Treasure them.
Charlie, thank you so much. It's been a remarkable conversation. It really, the book, How NASA Builds Teams, really struck a chord with me, and that's how we got in contact initially. But I'm sure that everyone listening to this will take something extremely valuable out of the conversation today. I wish you all the best for your home project, which I think is the next major mission on the horizon. And thank you so much for sharing your abundance mentality and your wisdom with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Be safe.